Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to Athena Games. My name is Elliot Baker, your regular commentator for Star Wars X-Wing here at Athena Games, and we're doing a bit of an oddball tonight because tonight, in the booth with me today to discuss the brand new Hired Guns expansion pack, I have Mr. David Lincoln. Hello, David.
Evening, all. It was nice to actually see this dropped actually yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that my first instant response when I saw the discussion about it was just literally, wow.
I don't think anyone expected this. I think it was one of those things which everyone had always talked about it, possibly coming true, you know.
We've had several talks about this in the past, about
camera reception.
potential, say the Star Viper, potential discussions about what we would do with the Star Viper, which we'll discuss in a bit more length later on. And we all knew for a long while that the Kirax needed a little bit of a boost as well.
We knew it was only a matter of time until that FFG decided we need to do something about X and Y. And in this case, the Kirax... Now, is that how you pronounce it? The Kirax?
I've always pronounced it the Kirax. It's probably something more like the Kizarax or something like that. I don't know, but I always call it the Kirax.
Kirax sounds nice. I think the Z is silent. Kirax. But the Star Viper, that was also a nice one. And generally, it means the Auto Thrust expansion pack is now much more viable as a thing, because it means you get Star Viper and Auto Thrusters. And if you have the Hired Gun expansion, it means you get a whole plethora of new goodies for you to use.
Yeah, I think without further ado, it might be worth actually cracking into it so we can actually explain what we're talking about here.
That's the important thing, guys. If you're here tuning in for a game, it's actually one of our off nights. The first and third Wednesday we usually stream.
Yep.
But this is the fifth Wednesday. It's the very few times. It's the fifth Wednesday in a month. And originally there could be nothing, but then this dropped, and we figured, well, why not?
Well, if you remember back to our first ever stream, I did actually ask the question, well, what would happen if there were to be a fifth one? And we say we would do something special. We weren't going to, and I think this is worthy of a special fifth Wednesday kind of feel.
I think a discussion is warranted regarding this expansion, especially since it is the first ever Scum Aces pack. Essentially, it's not called Aces.
Might as well be.
Well, they are referred to as the Aces line. In fact, if you look at the product section, they're actually under their own subline called Aces. So
of course. Rather than like the transport stuff, which is the iconic and.
Well, no, I think they're called Epic.
And then you have Iconics, which is going to be like the Falcon.
Then you have the Waves. They break it down to waves on the website, like it should be naturally.
Yeah.
But and this is what we are talking about.
But
there it is.
My first original thought is because obviously I only saw the banner there, the fearless and inventive.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that picture, I was like, please tell me that is the paint job, especially for the Star Viper. Yes. And then I opened up and went, oh, yes, they have.
That is the exact paint job. And this has been a bit of a love-hate relationship in the community. Some like it, some hate it. And that's personal preference. I personally think it could be better. But I think it's not a bad paint job. It's fine.
Well, I think a few weeks ago when we were discussing about this, we actually had a look at the Star Viper when we had somebody new, I believe it was. We were talking about some new short ships or ships that needed a bit of a buff, and we went through it. And I think we saw a Star Viper with sort of like tiger stripes.
Yes.
And this sort of has that feel back to it. As a lover for a tiger naturally, that looks really smart.
Well, it also keeps the butterfly motif, which a lot of people call it the butterfly of death.
It is. It is the butterfly. You look at it and, what else would you call it?
Again, personal opinion coming up. People are saying the Kirax's paint job is a bit uninspired.
I think the Black Sun.
Yeah, it's the Black Sun. There's only so many ways you can do a paint job of black, grey, and white. And yes, it's maybe a bit vanilla.
No, but the original one was a sort of dark green, purple kind of.
Yeah, it definitely brings something new to the actual Kirax itself, and it's different from the all white with the black nose tip of the Z95.
Yeah, I was going to say that's because the Z95.
If it was all white with just a few black bits, then I think it'd be it's a bit too lazy. The fact that it is a two-tone paint job is not too bad.
Oh yeah. Both of them as paint jobs, I probably, as a personal view, as people who will know who've watched the stream before, I've painted my Scum stuff. I haven't got, apart from one which I got off one of Toby's actually. It was actually in that case. I've painted all my Scum stuff, but I wouldn't actually think about painting either of these. These are nice, natural, out-the-box paint jobs, and I wouldn't change them.
Yeah, I can see that as well. So, what is the new stuff that's been added? Well, there's the spread, as I like to call it.
Well, let's start of looking at the most obvious things. Let's have a look at the pilot cards.
Well, we clearly have two new generics, which are Pilot Skill 5.
Rather than the original Pilot Skill 1 and 3 generics that we had.
Yeah, so it's a bit like Imperial Veterans, where you don't get the original generics, but you do get the brand new ones, which I think is a standard because generally you do want to use the new generics. I imagine these are Pilot Skill 5. I think they'd have an EPT.
I was going to say, when there's Pilot Skill 5s, and you think of most of the Pilot Skill 5 Scum ships... So Scum, Guri, Pilot Skill 5, EPT.
Yeah.
I've got to say there isn't. There you got the Black Sun Ace Black Sun Marauder. I can't remember which one it is.
Cartel Marauder than Black Sun Ace. Yeah.
That's a Pilot Skill 5 with an EPT.
Yep.
The Concord Dawn Ace is a Pilot Skill 5 with an EPT. The Z95. No, it's not the Jerusalem, it's the other one. Can't remember the name. Anyway, Pilot Skill 5 with an EPT.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see these both at Pilot Skill 5 and an EPT.
I agree. Pilot Skill 5 generics usually do have EPTs. And Pilot Skill 5 is a nice kind of middle ground.
Yeah.
Especially for generics. It means they're on par with Glaives, I believe, and also the Royal Guard.
Glaives, I believe, are 6.
You're correct, it's Riyadh's 5.
Yeah.
I don't know about the point cost. They probably would be pointed in the same range as the others, because of course you can't. They got something coming up which makes them a bit more efficient.
So probably say Guri was 30 points. So probably the Pilot Skill 1 was 25, 27 for the Pilot Skill 3. So 29 wouldn't be too far out with an EPT.
28, 29, I'd imagine.
You can't really go 30 because 30 is Guri.
You got Guri, so
I'd say 29.
Yeah, 28, 29, I think that's what we're looking at. I think 29, I think you're right on the ball with 29. Especially since it then procs... Actually, yeah, because otherwise you'd be able to get 4 of these in. We'll discuss that soon, how and why. I'm not surprised about this at all. It's called Black something, so much it's Black Sun...
Could be veteran.
Could be veteran.
Could be
I don't think smuggler.
Could be smuggler.
No, because they're not really smuggling. They're not really smuggling ships, are they?
Scout.
Hitman. I don't know. It could be. It's a Black Sun
something.
Something.
I wouldn't say that it'd use the same name of any Black Suns that they've used before, because then you're going to have potential. Oh, this is a Black Sun for this. Is a black. Yeah,
and then we've got Daylon Orios, I believe, is that the top one.
Yeah.
So he's Pilot Skill 6, and we've got 4, which is Thruik, and I know that because the condition cards reference Thruik, and I know a character called Thruik, so...
And also, if you look at the Pilot Skill 4 Star Viper base, that is lurking by the side of the picture there.
Yeah, and so you can probably zoom on that and find that's Thruik.
And it seems like on the other side, you've got the Cartel, the Black Sun, I believe it's Marauder.
Yeah.
I'll be corrected, obviously, if I'm wrong.
Then Captain something.
Captain something, which is obviously the Pilot Skill 4 card, and Victor Hell.
We'll get to him soon.
Yeah.
And we got a spread of new cards, including a Harpoon missile.
Which looks ridiculous. I can't remember if there's anything mentioned of what that does.
There is the 2 harpooned conditions, which apparently means when you do a crit, when an opponent with this condition suffers an uncancelled critical, other ships within range 1 suffer a damage, so it kind of creates a splash damage effect, almost.
You kind of feel anything that's flying in formation with one of my more favourite pilots of them all, believe it or not, bearing in mind I play Kian Farlander more than anything else.
Yeah.
10 num.
Yeah, 10 num.
When he gets a crit, it's unavoidable. That becomes uncancelled. That then triggers the other part of Harpooned.
Yeah.
It's a straight up can't be cancelled.
That's assuming that this is a. But then you couldn't actually. You have to have something which can carry the harpoon because it's a missile, so I don't think it's going to be an.
It's a condition card. It should be.
Yeah, but it would be assigned by a missile, so you'd need something else to carry the missile to fire it. So there's that. But I still agree that 10 num would be great against something that has a harpooned condition. We have the title here, which we'll get onto soon. The other Star Viper title here, which you can see. The pulse ratio, which again we'll actually cover quickly.
But it does come out in the Searock.
Yep. The vector thrusters we know, stealth device we know, and this ion discharge. And I actually think this actually is supposed to go with this. I think ion discharge is something about, because it mentions a token. It mentions after you something token. So I think it's after you're assigned an ion token, maybe you may pass that on to someone else, or maybe you can actually turn that to damage or
maybe roll a result.
Yeah.
Roll an attack dice, and on a certain result, you may remove this token.
You may.
But it says there's something about.
It says you may enemy if you do the token, then choose token. So I imagine you may do a damage to an enemy or pass it off to an enemy, but if you do, there's something in exchange. Maybe you get stress. So
yeah,
and that goes well with the pulse ray shield, which let's go over that quickly. Which is
during
the end phase, it's a rebel and scum only, so it can go on. Rebel Hawks.
Yep.
During the end phase, you may recover receive one ion token to recover one shield up to your shield value. You can equip this card only if your shield value is 1.
So the M3A,
the Star
Viper, Hawks, Kirax.
I think the Star Viper can do it.
Yeah, full one.
Yeah. Both of these can do it. Scum has a lot of options for that.
It has definitely a lot more than
Rebels. Rebels only got Hawks to do that.
Exactly.
So yeah. There's some great options.
And unless you can take like in the future, like a modification for like a TIE fighter that you can then have a shield and also take.
Yeah, but
so you see what I mean? But taking 2 modifications because you'd have the shield, you then have a shield value of 1.
The problem is this: Rebel and Scum only.
Yeah, but I mean, like, because remember the TIE fighter is now crossed because of Sabine's TIE.
Yeah, but I'm saying that they've stopped this from being that from Rebel and TIE because the TIE FO could get that if that's the case.
Yeah.
That's why they have that clause because the TIE FO could get it, and that I think because that does come in the Searock. And I don't think Ion Discharge does. And I think this is a little sneaky way of them saying, where's another pulse ray shields and here's something that makes it even better.
Yeah.
Which I can't wait to see what that does in film.
Have you noticed how actually most of the things in this set, in the upgrade cards, come in 2s?
Yeah.
Get 2 copies of Harpooned, 2 lots of conditions for Threek, 2 copies of both the titles, 2 copies of Harpoon missiles, 2 copies of Ion Discharge, 2 lots of pulse ray shields. The only thing that's not in a multiple of 2 is vector thrusters and stealth device,
which we've had plenty of times before. So no surprise.
But you see what I mean?
There's
quite a lot of pairings going on here.
There's a bit of talk amongst people saying that no auto thrusters, perfect chance then to put auto thrusters. But I think
with another Star Viper, coincidental.
Yeah, but I think the reason they did this is because if you did have an auto thrusters in this expansion. Would you buy a Star Viper expansion pack?
My answer to that question is going to be depends on what the new pilots give it.
Yeah.
And I've said this to a few people. I said, at the moment, Guri is the best Star Viper pilot, unless you consider going light on some of the generics.
Yes. I mean, I think the lack of this, I think the lack of auto thrusters is them trying to keep the Star Viper expansion relevant.
And who knows? One of them may have a auto thrusters modification in its wording.
Maybe. I'm actually thinking, because I'm not using 4 ion tokens here, so 1 for pulse ray shield, but why would they give you 4 if you'd only need 2? I think ion discharges, you may give an opponent a ion token if you have an ion token yourself. So I think that could be what it is, because ion discharge is, I don't know, I think it could be what it is.
Discharge would mean getting rid of.
Unless maybe by passing off, when you have 2, you may discard 1, but just give the other one to someone else. I don't know. I do think it's something about giving your enemy ion tokens, though.
There is definitely something that involves enemy. It's a question of what is there really to pass off. But yeah, let's go a bit further.
So we have the 2 new titles.
and I instantly love both of them.
Yeah.
I think if we do it in order that's there, so the Vaxi title. Now this, I'm going to tell you now, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So the squad points of each of your upgrade cards, or each equipped upgrade, is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 0. So every single card, this is my understanding of it, every single upgrade card that you put on a Kirax is reduced by 1. A tiny mind link now becomes 0.
Yep. This I think is great because it doesn't give a points reduction to the actual Kirax itself, which is nice. It's nice they're doing something different, but it encourages you to say they like their upgrades. Let's make their upgrades cheaper and encourage you to put more, which in itself could be a downside because you might overload it just because you're getting that discount.
Well,
so I'm just saying that it offers a tactical aspect of list building.
Later on, if you don't mind, Elliot, I'm more than happy to share what my current Kirax build is like, so you can see what it's like, and then we'll do the negative costs and look at maybe what I would do to it.
You may equip up to 3 different modification upgrades. With notice keyword, they're different. There's been a few people that say, "Oh, you can have 3 star devices." No, it does say 3 different modification upgrades.
Can I ask you one question, Elliot?
Yes.
Other than what was your first instant thought when you saw that? What 3 modifications would you have thought of sticking on it? Because I had 3 instantaneously in mind.
Engine upgrade, vector thrusters, and auto thrusters.
Exactly the same 3 I had.
You get the engine upgrade for maneuverability, and you get the auto thrusters for defense, and then vector thrusters for a bit more
repositioning. And they're all reduced by 1. So engine upgrade becomes 3. Vector thrusters becomes 1, and the same with auto thrusters. You're spending 5 points for 3 mods?
Essentially, you can get your auto thrusters for the same cost as you would get an engine upgrade. Engine upgrade and auto thrusters for the same cost you'd get 1 engine upgrade on a normal ship.
Yeah.
Because 3 to 4, and then 2 to 1, 4 overall.
Yeah. It is crazy. I love this modification.
And I also think, speaking of a guy who is lore as well, it's absolutely gorgeous because in the lore, the Kirax was the most modifiable style craft in the galaxy. The one contention that some people have, and I do say some people, is that the Kirax is not the Vaxi. In actual fact, the Vaxi is technically a different ship.
So is that the Vaxi you just got up here?
I'm now getting up the Vaxi. There it is. There is apparently what the Vaxi is.
So that is Clone Wars...
No, it's not. It actually originated in Star Wars Galaxies. And what it was is you could modular build the pieces of... Think of it like the Kirax and the Vaxi were very similar craft that you could swap modular pieces around. So... Okay. That's why they have a similar kind of profile, or similar, but they have different details.
You can also see why I'm thinking. I've always thought that looks also like an E-wing as well.
Yeah,
sort of similar kind of.
And some people in the community have said. Some people in the community have complained. Well, why aren't FG making this model? To which I've got to say, it's simply cheaper. It's logistic. It's cheaper.
They already made the Kirax.
They've already made the Kirax, and technically, it's not a different ship. It's a title. So also, there's the confusion of if
somebody brings it to the game and doesn't put the upgrade on it, is it a Vaxi?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is it the Vaxi or is it a normal...
It keeps it simple if you just simply have the exact same model and repaint it. If people want to do Shapeway stuff, by all means, but...
I might have to go Toby and go, can you put a little bit of modification to one of them?
Yeah, because I do prefer this variant.
I like
the pulled back cockpit than I do. I like the long nose. Then again, it does make it a bit X-wingy, but oh well.
I do love that that nose cone from a guy who loves his motorsport. That is a very nice.
It is a nice ship, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, let's move on. So we got that. That's been discussed more or less.
So the next thing that was mentioned was the new Star Viper title.
That too, baby.
We had discussions.
I called it.
I can't remember how long ago it was. Probably about 3 or 4 months ago. So just after the turn of the new year, we said, you mentioned the word of being able to do barrel rolls with
the bank template. Yes.
And what is this title, Elliot?
It's the Star Viper Mark II. You may equip this You may equip to 2 different tiles. So you can still take Virago or Vigoro or whatever it is.
And also notice this is not a unique title as well.
Nope, it is generic. When performing a barrel roll action, you must use the 1 bank or one bank template instead of the one forward. So I was close. I guess the one bank, I didn't think it'd force you to do that. I also said that you'd be allowed to do it when stressed, but I was close. And I think I'm close enough to say, yeah.
It's a good thing I didn't put money on that being the title, because I think I'd at least have owned you something for it.
Well.
And also, the neat thing is, -3 squad points.
Finally, the Star Viper is the right point cost. Although it does mean that you will have to use the bank barrel, but to be fair, who cares?
Do you know where I'm going with this? When I saw that reduction cost, I was thinking of a good old first game of our Joker tournament. What did Mr. Burdett run up with?
Four of them, all naked. With this, he could get auto thrusters on them, maybe.
And it would come in at 96 points.
He'd have points for other stuff or initiative bid. A really brave initiative bid, but an initiative bid nonetheless.
The only unfortunate thing is, because the 2-point increase, you couldn't have 4 pilot skill 3s.
No.
Which is a shame.
Which I think the reason, if they are going to cost it, they'll probably cost the new generic 5s at 29, because then you can't have 4. I think 4 might be a bit too much, maybe.
But then they are naked pilot skill 5s.
Then again, yeah, you got a good point. They are naked. I guess you're not utilising the EPT, so maybe we'll see that. Who knows? We might.
You can still give it what was I looking for? Adaptability.
Yes.
So bring him in at pilot skill 6, and then
true.
run head to head with Glaives.
And not only that, I can't wait to run this and the advanced sensors on the ship, because being able to do a banking barrel roll in any direction and then do your maneuver, that introduces some very interesting maneuverment possibilities.
And also, that is pre-nerf Phantom.
Because
you do it at the start of your activation. Technically, because the advanced sensor, you do the action before your activation.
Yes, I have to admit, it would make pinning that Star Viper down, but it's only one Star Viper. Because the Virago is a unique title.
Yes.
So there's at least that balancing act. And also, because it's only the one bank, has a bit more of a kind of closed gap area, but still interesting nonetheless, and reactionary.
And
what's to
say if you had advanced sensors and you were going to do a 1 hard? You bank round 1 hard, and you just cut round the angles quite nicely.
You can fulfill some great manoeuvring. I did test it out.
Just imagine Guri doing that sort of kind of barrel roll and doing a hard 1, and then getting all that stuff going on at range 1.
I can't wait. I really want to get my hands on this. I might even start. I very rarely proxy cards. I might actually break that with this one, and because you know what I mean. If I were to say to you, rank me in terms of what I fly in terms of faction. What do I fly? From most flown faction to least flown faction, what do you say I am?
I'll do it in reverse order and say it's definitely Scum at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, I don't fly Scum a lot.
And I think it's more like 50-50 Rebel Empire, and I think Rebel would just hedge it because of the fact you play A-Wings a lot.
Yeah, Rebel does hedge a bit forward of me, so I'm actually looking forward to actually having this and playing some Scum. I think this would be interesting. I do admit, I've got a deep spot in me for Shadows of the Empire, and that's where the Star Viper came from. So yeah,
it's really neat. But I'm going to go slightly sidetracked. Okay. But because this weekend is UK Games Expo, I will be going and playing at Europeans.
Right.
And I've already said to a few people, if I don't make it out of day 1, I will be playing Hangar Bay day 2, and I will be playing my Tiny Aces list to say to people, this works now, or potentially it works now.
We'll see.
It's only going to get better.
Also, so if you guys are watching this in the future, over the next couple of days, and you are at UK Games Expo, make sure to pop down and see Dave, who will be hanging around.
You will see me probably because I'll have a football shirt with my name on the back, so you can't really miss me. But obviously, I'll be wishing all the best as well to all the players there. And we wish all Athena's players as well.
We wish you luck. We wish the people who are local to Athena going down there. We wish them luck, and we wish all the players in general luck at the UK Games Expo. It's one of the premier UK events. So.
It is. There is a lot of nice stuff going on there, but let's keep this back on.
Well, there's only one more card, really.
Oh yes, and it is the Pilot Skill 7 pilot, Victor Hell.
After defending, if you did not roll exactly 2 defense dice, the attacker receives 1 stress token.
Yeah. if you're playing this against an Eternally Mind Link list, and its only viable shot is against Victor Hell at range 3 or behind Asteroid,
They probably wouldn't take it. But
what, even if it's limping?
if it's limping, there's a possibility, which, yeah, but they do get stressed and it does go through the Mind Link. I do think this is a very interesting little ship. I think it benefits you having something like... I mean, yes, the obvious choice is Stealth Device, which gives you a permanent... Well, not a permanent, but an increase until you get hit. But that only lasts until you get hit. So I think it's...
I like the thing that's in the actual article. You do that and put Scavenger Crane next to it.
That is
you can
true,
get it back,
yes.
and then technically it survives until the next time you're hit.
Yeah, that is true.
And potentially regens up to the last ship. But it's like, if it's 1-on-1, it's used 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
It's made its money back and some.
You've got a good point.
And also it makes Scavenger Crane 1 point with the title, obviously. Scavenger Crane 1 point and Stealth Device only 2, so it's 3 points.
Yeah.
Taking Victor up to 28 before you start throwing stuff at him.
One idea that the actual article itself talks about, which I want to cover, is this build, which is Expose with experimental interface, effective thrusters, and pulse ray shield.
I was going to say, can you get a larger image of that, just so...
That's about as large as I can get.
Okay. So it's not much better. So what they're saying here is, rather than trying to gain evade dice, what about lose evade dice?
It's easier to lose than it is to gain, because with gaining, you can gain it with Cloak, but then you can't shoot, or you can get it with Stealth Device, but then once you get hit, it's gone. Whereas this, you can actually control when it's active.
Well, the other thing that comes to mind, what if your opponent is running Outmaneuver? Outmaneuver reduces your agility dice by 1.
That's actually a good point.
So that's a way of getting around that. But Outmaneuver is a very specific card.
And I doubt then they'd actually want to try and outmaneuver you. They'd try and get you an arc.
Tractor Beam?
Yes, Tractor Beaming. Ooh, Space Tug Tractor Array.
Yeah.
That's not... Nah. Be able to shove your own maneuver, then that's not a bad call, actually.
Oh, because you stick it onto your ship and maneuver it as if it were an opposing ship.
That would be interesting to shove it in a list with Vector Hell. Of course, you are reducing a very fragile ship from 2 to 1. Is that a good thing? Probably not, but it's a way to make his ability proc. And the one which I did notice, which I talked to you about, is that it's a great anti-multiple ship, or multiple hit ability. It's not once per round.
Nope.
It's whenever you're defending, so long as you do not roll exactly 2 defense dice, you are golden. So those lovely TIE defenders with the TIE D tiles at range 1, and you've got Exposed, sure they can both attack you, but they're getting double stressed if they do that.
Yeah, but it's 5 hit points.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just saying it's an idea.
2 big primaries from 2 different ships is enough to wipe it off the face of the planet.
Wedge hates this guy. Wedge absolutely despises this guy.
With this list, Expose and Wedge, that's no agility dice.
But Wedge hates him in general, because whenever Wedge shoots him, unless this guy does have a stealth device, then Wedge is always going to get a stress. So Wedge hates him too. Thanks, Chris Neal, for that little tidbit. It's a nice little toolbox thing, which I'm not sure it's not a fantastic pilot, because generally you want to avoid being shot at, but it's a nice kind of get out of jail free card if you are shot at and you do have something which can control the number of defense dice you get.
Yeah. I was going to say the Kirex dial, so we've got Expose, experimental interface. So you could potentially barrel roll through the vectored thrusters, which I love my Kirex with vectored thrusters. It just gives it that little extra edge of maneuverability. Yeah. And the only issue is then you do one of your actions on your action bar, receive 1 stress to hit Expose. The dial on the Kirex is not the best at removing stress.
It's basically the same as an X-Wing dial, more or less.
So, sometimes you want to leave that open to turn around.
Sometimes.
And what's to say, you get hit by something during the, like, for example, Asajj Ventress, who sticks another stress on you after you've done experimental interface. You're double stressed.
Yeah. I mean, people say, this is a bad idea. I've seen people on the forum say, this is a bad and terrible idea. I don't think it's a brilliant idea, but nor is it it gets his abilities proc.
It has its, it's weaken its defense.
Yeah.
To potentially
Weaken your opponent.
Make this another 5 dice range band 1 ship.
That's true.
You know.
Plus, you've got the aspect that if they shoot at you and they get stressed, and if they got Mind Link, that then procs through. So it has its uses, but it is very situational. I don't think it's a brilliant idea, but it's an idea, and it still has its place. I don't see it in tournaments, but I'd see it. I'd certainly shove that on the board and give it some play. See how fun it is.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those fun little aces that has its play. You know, I know there's some aces that we go, we are never going to play these. You know, for me, when I've built my Atani Aces list, I was like, I really want some punch damage. And my punch damage comes through Talonbane and Fenrag.
Yeah.
Talonbane, at the moment, hear me out on this, is the only good Kirax pilot. Maybe Victor Hell would make a change of thoughts on that. You know, it's a nice little ability. And besides, we don't know what the other ability is for the other ship is.
Humber? The Hunter. There we go. I mean, I've seen people look at this. What's it? Grass the Hunter. What's his ability? When defending, if the attack is inside your firing arc, roll 1 attack additional defense dice. See, that's not terrible, but if you have fearlessness, if you could if you could get fearlessness on him, if only you could.
Raz put alongside, and this is before I fully read the whole wording of Sirisu. You have 3 evade dice. Sirisu allows you to re-roll 1 if he's at range 1 of Graz. No EPT, which is a shame. You know, and that's 3 defense dice. It's a shame that you can't bring that. It's not like it's a title card that can stick onto the Kirax for Victor Hell's ability.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. I think they're trying to get people to use Expose. I think every card should have its place. I don't think any card. You shouldn't be able to look at a card and think, "Oh, that's useless." Throw that on the kindling. I think every card should try and find a place in the meta.
Let's put it this way.
Deadeye was once declared useless.
I was going to say, I was going to mention the fact that I still haven't sent that first article. I need to do that.
I will do
that.
Yes.
I will try and send it over the weekend.
Yeah, coming soon to Athena Games blog, an article looking back at Wave 1 from today's Mon perspective, brought to you by David Lincoln.
The original thing is, I haven't given you the core set one yet, which in the core set does have... It was Deadeye, wasn't it? No, Determination.
Yes.
Determination was immediately a sort of like a not go-to card. Bring out Lebo.
Then suddenly it became, okay, it's quite good Lebo.
Kind of then went out the window. Kylo Ren.
Then Kylo Ren brought it back and said, okay, against Kylo Ren it's very good, but still situational because it's a counter card. But it's not a bad call.
You know, and like I was saying, Deadeye came out, I believe, in... Was it the X-Wing?
Z95.
Or Z95,
I think it does come in Z95, but...
But still, really underused card. Then when it wasn't errated, the triple jumps used effectively a really, 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 really early wave thing that probably was forgotten through the age of time itself.
Yeah. That's what happens. People kind of take one thing from the first wave or from very early waves and think, it's something that's not used because no one thinks about it. And then thinks, well, what if I put it with this? And suddenly, oh wow, it works, amazing.
Like for example, you take my main list I'm taking to Europeans. I'm not going to go through its whole entirety here. I realised not long ago I'm actually using like 90% of the cards on the 2400 actually came out with the 2400 expansion.
Well, there you go. That's a selling feature for you right there.
And that was a Wave 4 ship.
Wave 5, actually.
Wave 5. So 4 or 5 waves later, it still got use. It keeps Lebo alive much longer. I
agree.
Mr. Bull, sorry to name drop Mr. Bull, but we had a game last week. And it was basically Lone Wolf that kept Lebo alive.
There you go. Also, I want to address a comment which we didn't address earlier, which is Lithy 2017. Fingers crossed the T-75 one day gets a title like this, referring to the Vaxi.
Yeah.
I actually think the X-Wing would benefit from something, but I don't think a title exactly like that would work. Let's try and make the X-Wing a bit more different.
themed, because the Vaxi was about the modifications. The X-Wing was loaded with the proton torpedoes that blew up the Death Star.
Actually, while I agree, I think making it about protons would be about it. Maybe if they had 2 titles, one with protons. We've discussed this several times before, but the point is, I don't think that exact title is preferable for the X-Wing. I think
or maybe
you could do better.
Or maybe, how about this for an idea?
Mm-hmm.
If you equip the proton torpedoes and make a note that it's limited, so you can only ever take 1 copy of it, you gain, as a title card, an extra torpedo slot.
Maybe.
Give it extra munitions, you got 2 shots of proton torps.
I just think that's not enough, because they're not really torp ships, really.
But
look, I can see your point, and I would like to... because
it's keeping it thematic.
The problem with the X-Wing is that it was, and still is in lore, a multi-purpose fighter. It was a jack of all trades that was a master of none. And in the game, what is it? It's a jack of all trades, and even that, it's a master of nothing. It's not a good torpedo boat. It's not a good jouster. It's not a good, it's not a good interceptor. Yeah, there's very little what it could do. Adding a Talon roll, I think, would do very little. I think Chris Neal is on to something where I think you need to change the dial.
The Talon roll would then basically make it a same equivalent as T-70.
I think you need to
with one less green maneuver.
I think you need to differentiate the two quite a lot. Like I've always said, find a unique niche, and I don't know what it is. I've wrapped my brains around it. I've come up with several ideas.
Yeah, you think of the title that came for the Black One.
Yeah.
That required a specific PS or higher for it to be equipped. The only sort of... I'm going to be careful how I word this. The only good head-to-head jousters in terms of pushing out stuff is Luke and Wedge. Wedge, yes, token strips. Biggs is there to be annoying.
Biggs annoying. Biggs and Wes see the most play these days.
Yeah.
Luke, you don't really see because he's got a defensive ability which is okay, but not really amazing. And Wedge, I think, is just too expensive these days for what he does. I think you need... I think you need to kind of make both X-Wings very unique and different. Like, I love how the T-70 has a boost, and I think Lithy's idea about having a barrel roll is not a bad call. So then the different kind of repositional actions. I also think the X-Wing needs different. I think the T-65 needs more, and I think something which can, like, it's always in fact in Armada there's a thing called escort. The X-Wing has a thing called escort where if it is with someone else, they can't attack anything other than the X-Wing. Now, I'm not saying make everyone like Biggs. What I am saying is maybe give something like the X-Wing a boost when it attacks a ship that's in another ship's firing arc. So that it gives it like the idea that this thing likes to fly in formation and joust.
Be careful how you word that, because it might bring Eton Abat back on the table. I've no problem with Eton Abat, because, when a ship is attacking and a ship with an Eton's firing arc, you could get 2 procs out of Eton's firing arc.
I'm saying a boost, not
But I mean, if you say that in terms of if they're in another an arc of another ship, gain an extra defense dice or something like that.
I think whatever the X-Wing must do, you can't have it be a defensive problem because then Biggs becomes an issue. You have to give it an offensive or maneuverable fix, otherwise you buff Biggs and Biggs doesn't need to be buffed. No. Alternatively, you give Biggs the Ban Hammer or the Nerf Hammer, and you then apply a defense upgrade to the X-Wing. I think
if you're going to do that, though, you could quite easily put a PS limit and make it 8.
That is true, but then
because VI Biggs is 7. You see what I'm saying? 8.
Biggs doesn't have, but Biggs can get
R4D6.
Yeah, but then you're not really got any defensive mods, so I don't think that's as worth it.
But I'm just saying.
I just think that you need an offensive thing. You make them worth the points that they take, rather than trying to keep them alive longer.
Comment from Chris Neal that Escalation, he wants to try and fly 5 T-65s.
I look forward to seeing that on the table.
Mr. Yules apparently flew 4 of them at Wildstorm at the weekend.
He didn't, but someone said that was going on.
Oh, I thought he did.
No, that would...
Wojtek copied it off.
Yeah, basically we tagging Chris to say, look what's going on. Someone found,
oh, okay. Because that is very much...
that's very much him.
Yeah, he's normally actually 3 X-Wings and a Z95.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. But this has been a brand new announcement. I can't wait for it. Probably what's the most interesting for me is that there's missing numbers.
I haven't been paying attention on the missing numbers.
There's missing numbers. Let's go to the product page, everyone. So let's go to the Star Wars X-Wing, and let's look at it. So, Wave 11. The Oppressor is SWX66, which is the highest of these.
Wave 10 is 64, 65, 66.
Yes. Then we have the Sea-Rock, which is 58. So we know it's not the Sea-Rock. But if we then jump all the way back up to the Aces, the hired guns is 73.
So you're missing 67 onwards.
Yeah.
67 to 73. You're missing
7.
77, sorry, technical fingers.
It's 7
67,
numbers, isn't it?
68,
7.
69, 70. You say 73?
73, yeah.
71, 72.
Oh, it's the 6. Oh, good point.
So that it looks like there's an entire wave that has been set aside.
Well, my prediction is a wave or two ships that a wave and two ships that are tying to the new movie, and either a Please Be a Scarif pack or a Rebel Veterans pack or something, which is the T-65 and the E-Wing, although in my heart of hearts I know they'll probably do the Y-Wing because it fits with Scarif. Or the second Scum Epic. The second Scum Epic would be nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't...
Still one down.
Still one down. I'd prefer a Rebel Veterans, but I think Scum also need to catch up quick and they need their second Epic ship.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that. I do think there's a wave. I do think there's a wave in there.
Oh, naturally, because this wave will be out by Gen Con, and they'll have a new wave that's either announced just before or at Gen Con. That's generally how it works.
I don't think it would be wrong to assume there'll be something new from the new movie that won't make the production line.
I think we know. We know there's a new A-Wing in the movie, so I think...
There is a new A-Wing.
There's an A-Wing Mark II, apparently, so yeah.
Oh, you'll love that.
Oh, yes. I can't wait.
Maybe that means that there'll be if they say, for example, they have the TIE modification for the ion engines, twin ion engines. Maybe there is something that will link both A-Wings together.
Maybe, we'll see.
Like an A-Wing modification.
We shall see. I can't wait. I don't want to speculate. I want to wait till I get hard information. But I can't wait for that wave for a start. I can't wait for the new articles. But, this expansion pack, the Hired Guns expansion pack, was met with much rejoice and also much vile from the community, because I know me, I used to get a pulse in the X-Wing community, the Grander X-Wing community, so that's the FFG forums, and there's a lot of people saying, great, Scum finally got the races, which I agree, fantastic.
Yep.
There was also a lot of people saying, oh look, Scum gets some love, the top faction of the game gets some love.
Yes, they get some love.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
They do get a helping hand, but remember this is on two ships that have received the least amount of love. If you remember when we had our Joker tournament, these two ships were our most voted
Scum ships
we put in.
Yep. I don't deny that.
It's quite clear that they've not got the love.
They haven't. When was the last time you saw these run competitively and actually do good? Besides maybe Guri.
Burdett, when he ran up with a 4... that was completely out the box.
Yeah, but it wasn't competitive. It didn't win, did it?
It did quite well. It was a top 8, I think.
It did all right, but that's true. I'll grant you that. But
I think playing it now with the -3 points and auto thrusters would survive longer.
Let's look at it this way. FFG work a year and a half more in advance. It's not like they thought this idea last week. No. They knew long before Worlds, and that Worlds we had top 13 or to whatever it was going to be Scum. I can't remember the exact results of Worlds. So that Scum did dominate Worlds. They couldn't have predicted that. They had this on the cards. The timing just unfortunately works out, and people got a bit heated. Yes, okay, Scum are very dominant and they are very powerful. That's not to say that these ships did not need their time in the limelight. And that they need it. These very ships might actually make the meta of Scum broaden a bit more. And in general would affect the overall meta.
Like I originally said, these two ships will be featured in my Hangar Bay list if I don't make it out at day one. I have no idea, obviously at this stage, what the requirements will be to get out of day one, from what I understand from the actual Facebook page for the event, Alex has actually posted, or when the event was set up, there was notes to say that day 1 is either going to be 5 or 6 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So it means day 2 starts either round 6 or 7.
Mm.
You know, realistically, I'm thinking if there's 6 rounds, 4-2 as a cut-off point. I did some maths. In terms of working out roughly how many players would get through that way.
I get what you're saying.
After the end of day 2, you've got a top 32 cut.
Yeah.
For the final knockouts.
Yeah.
You can't knock it down to there's only 64 players, and that's basically saying 1 round, bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I just get why people are upset, and I think, don't worry, Rebel and Scum will get their time. We'll get an X-Wing. We'll get an X-Wing fix.
Just remember, Scum has only been around since about Wave 6. Wave 6 or 7. They've been in the game half as long, technically, as
the other ships.
As the 2 other factions.
Yeah.
They have had predominantly a lot more love recently, but yet again, newer faction.
Plus, also, they've just had just gel designs, and they've gotten very good ships. I think the Jumpmaster did skew things a little bit.
Yep. But
we
on
discussed
the other hand,
that. Yeah.
On the other hand, though, you take the Scourge, the Scourge bomber.
Skirk, yeah.
That comes effectively, one pilot can be played as Rebel or Scum.
Yeah.
Pulsed Ray Shields, Rebel or Scum.
Yeah.
What they're inadvertently doing is putting stuff out there for Scum while going, here's Rebels, have something else as well.
Yeah,
It's a nice inadvertent way of doing it, saying, you may think we're doing this, but look what's going on over here.
Oh, I agree, Chris. Scum seem to get all the fun, and bear in mind, I am a predominantly Rebel. Yeah, as we said before, Scum is my least played faction, but I can also see the logical side of it. They haven't got their Aces pack.
Nope.
These ships needed the love.
Yep.
Now they have that love, and we can helpfully diverse the meta. The X-Wing will get its fix, but don't forget that between the time of the movie and Heroes of Resistance was a good, 8-9 months?
Yeah, it was kind of a huge time frame in there.
Yeah, it was which you can tell that was rushed through because that's not the normal production time of something like that. So I'd imagine.
Well, who knows? That might have been sitting in the background and going, if we can't pencil up some ideas, let's push this out.
Yeah, so I reckon we won't get our X-Wing fix until about the wave after this one. So
about start of next year.
No, about Christmas this year. I think we want to get a Rogue One tie-in about Christmas this year, but just before Christmas, so that it's just for the Last Jedi stuff, but still keeping Rogue One in the foreground.
Ooh, with the new film coming out,
yeah.
If there's going to be more X-Wings in there, they could quite easily slide a fix for an X-Wing in there. And just say an X-Wing modification and make it for both.
Yeah.
Inadvertently giving a fix to the T-65 while pushing along the T-70.
I just don't think the T-70 needs a lot. I think the T-65 does need something.
T-70 needs a new pilot.
Yeah, it does need some new pilots. It
It
needs something new.
Yeah, they are neat pilots. Yeah. Poe, with his 2 pilot skill versions, both of them are good. 9-num? 10-num?
Chris Neal's knocked it right on the head, which I agree with him and his friend completely. We'll get a new wave announced at Gen Con, along with a Heroes of Scarif or a Rebel Veterans, some kind of Rebel expansion which will help the T-65 and X ship, whether it be the Y-Wing or the E-Wing. I hope the E-Wing, because I think that needs more help than the Y-Wing, even though the Y-Wing also maybe needs a bit of a push. Then we'll, around about Force Friday in September, we'll get a new release for The Last Jedi, 2 new ships, a Resistance and a First Order ship, new A-Wing, new Imperial or First Order ship, and then and of course the new wave at Gen Con announced as well.
Yeah, the way that's sounding, Tony Elliott, you say these missing numbers. A-Wing Mark II, something from Imperial. Maybe another TIE fighter.
We know there's a new tie in the new film, so there's that.
Yeah. There was a. It looks like a First Order attempt at a TIE Interceptor, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like that cross between an Interceptor and a TIE bomber.
Which that looks beautiful.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them, I think. Mm-hmm. An Aces pack would cover another one.
Yep.
And another sort of 3-ship wave.
Yep.
That sounds like 6.
6 exactly on the head, isn't it?
So maybe that is your 6.
And there's usually time between they do epics. I do think it'd be nice if they fast track the Scum Epic, but I think the Scum Epic is more something they'll announce probably in the new year, in 2018, and
Keep things going.
Keep things going. So I think that's my prediction: is we'll get a new wave at Gen Con announced, along with, as Neil says, a Rogue One or T65 or whatever, a new Rebel Aces pack.
Plus, also, what I'm thinking is they might have put some missing gaps in there because they know what they're looking to put in. Remember, obviously, not all Worlds card designs have been implemented. Paul Heavers was only introduced, the one that was Boshek, wasn't it?
Yeah, Boshek.
It took 2 years to see Boshek.
It takes time. And that's also why I think that's going to be the incursion, because this, and to be fair, why would they hold back? The only reason that number was skipped is because they want to get this out there because they want to build hype. The only reason they held back the other stuff is because...
Relates to the new film?
Relates to new film, new wave, which they've already got a wave announced and it's not out yet, so why announce a new wave, even though they've done it before, but it's usually much closer to release. And of course related to the X-Wing Fix Pack, which everyone is excited for. They just don't want to do it and take attention away from this expansion pack.
Yeah. Like we've been discussing, I love this expansion pack.
Yeah.
For me, it rekindles hope in both those two ships.
Yeah.
So, I would love to play both these ships. Interesting to see what the other 3 unique pilots are and the points cost of that Pilot Skill 5 Star Viper.
Before we go quickly, because we need to shoot off very quickly, what is something funny with the product numbers, Mr. Neil? We'd appreciate any input you have. But the fact, there's always been the case that everyone's had a theory, missing numbers. The last time that was missing numbers, it was revealed to be the Sea Rock. So it shows that they have things in the works and they do jump about with the numbering. Because sometimes things take a bit more time to get balanced. Figure things out.
And obviously that is the thing with FFG. They don't sit around in the background going, we'll push this out, see what happens, and then let it fly.
Why I hate is, look, people make mistakes. Oh, the fact that there's the gap. Yeah, the gap is unusual. But the thing is, they've done it before. They have done it before. Never this big, but they have done it before. When I look online, I see a lot of people saying, FFG are incompetent, they messed up on the Jumpmaster, and yes, they messed up.
Whoa. My counter-argument is, if they were incompetent, they would have sat in the background and done nothing.
I don't think it's that. I think it's
we were still seeing triple jumps now and a decrease in player numbers. They need to act.
I just think that we're all human. People can make mistakes. Yes, they're being paid to do this. It's their job. Yeah.
But who would have if there's like say 30 designers for the game.
I think that's being very generous, but yeah.
Let's say, how many of them would have gone? You know what? Deadeye. It's a very old card. They saw it as a magician's boat, but then how many of them would have gone, but Deadeye?
Same. And you know what? It doesn't matter the fact if the designers missed it, the play testers also seem to miss it, because they are play testers. And there are play testers. And
maybe what they were thinking was, here's a tiny mind link in the Jumpmaster. Most Jumpmasters will be played with a tiny mind link.
Maybe.
And then no one saw.
Maybe. We don't know. The point is that I don't think FFG are incompetent. It's the fact sometimes they just mess up, which is the case.
Or miss something that's completely out of the ballpark.
If they were incompetent, this would not be the number 1 miniatures games in the world.
Oh yeah.
There have been other Star Wars miniature games before, and none of them have been as successful as X-Wing has. No. It's just this seems to gel with people.
Yeah.
And people mess up at times. But that's me trying to defend FFG a little bit, because yes, alright, they mess up. And it's unfortunate they do, but people are human. Yes. But that's enough from us, everyone. I think we've babbled on enough about this pack and about FFG
and we're close to closing up here, so we need to kind of get a shift on. But yeah, as we were saying earlier, I will be at Europeans this weekend.
Good luck to you and everyone competing at Europeans.
So hopefully I'll fly the flag for the X-Wing commentators. from Athena Games, of course. By all means, I'm more than happy to meet some of you guys when we're there and whatever, and
We'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight. And also, let us know what you think about these little impromptu, not game streams, but more discussion streams about... Because, we do unboxings. but we very rarely do. Like, we did an FAQ drop once before, and we have done previously since.
2 FAQ drops.
2 FAQ drops. You know,
End of year stream.
do people want to hear what we have to say about this? Do they want to hear our opinions? Or would they rather us just have our normal X-Wing game content, which is fine. The important thing is we want to hear what the community want to say.
Yeah.
Because there's no point us doing these videos if you guys would rather us not do these ones. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know. Be sure to follow us on Twitch, like and subscribe to us on both Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you guys soon in the next video.
Yes.
Ta-ra, everyone.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.